Characteristics of life. In this podcast, we're going to look at the characteristics of life. Different molecular composition than non-living things is the first characteristic of life. What that means is that a human will have a different association of molecules, say, than a rock will. All matter is composed of about 100 elements. Living things arrange them into proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids. Those are going to be the four major macromolecules inside of the human body. This accounts for the diversity of life. The way that we arrange our amino acids, let's say, into a protein, and the proteins that we have inside of our body makes us significantly different, say, from another organism. In particular, nucleic acids, which you'll soon see make up our DNA and or RNA, are also going to play a large role in accounting for the diversity of life. Living things require energy and raw materials. As you go through your day, you use energy, and as a result, you're going to have to eat to take in some raw materials that your body will eventually use to make more energy. Metabolism is the way that we create energy and or use energy. Metabolism, by definition, is going to be the total chemical reactions that are taking place inside of the body. You may hear people say things like, I have a really fast metabolism. That means that the chemical reactions taking place inside of their body occur quickly. People with high metabolisms usually are relatively thin. On the flip side, there are people who have slow metabolisms. That means that their body is breaking down and or using energy slower than somebody else. They would then probably be on the heavier side if you were to look at them physically. Living things are also composed of cells. You only have to be one cell in order to be considered a living organism. However, humans are multicellular, meaning that we have many, many cells. So cells, again, are the smallest unit of life. There are unicellular organisms versus multicellular organisms. The picture on the page is an amoeba. This is a single-celled organism. And then again, humans are going to have billions and billions of cells, so we would be considered to be multicellular. And again, the example would be an amoeba versus a human. Living things also have the ability to maintain something called homeostasis. Homeostasis, by definition, is the maintenance of a stable internal environment despite external conditions. Body temperature is a really easy way to think of homeostasis. So, for example, you maintain a body temperature of 98.6 degrees. If you go outside in the middle of January, it may be 0 degrees outside. However, your body is going to maintain a relatively stable temperature. So that 98.6 degrees will be maintained despite external conditions. Now, of course, you help with that by putting on more clothing and turning the heater on in your house to stay warm. But you get the idea. Your body does maintain a stable internal environment despite what's going on outside of the body. Living things also respond to their external environments. For example, I don't do spiders well, and in the event that a spider were to crawl on my hand, I would respond to that by jumping quite a bit. The example, however, that your textbook gives is that plants turn their leaves towards the light. So if you take a plant and place it near a window, it will turn towards the light, and then eventually you'd want to turn your plant again so that the other side of the plant would get light. However, the leaves will then turn towards the light in that case as well. Living things also have the ability to grow and reproduce. Growth, of course, occurs just in getting larger. So the ability of the body to get larger and individual cells to get larger as well. Reproduction, of course, is to create a new individual. In the event that you are going to grow and or reproduce, that is controlled by your DNA. So how big you get is controlled by DNA, and likewise the traits that you pass on and such during reproduction are controlled by your DNA. Like I had mentioned before, if you grow, you simply get larger. So cells have the ability to get larger, as well as an entire organism has the ability to get larger. And then the reproduction part is, of course, to create another organism. Populations of living things have the ability to evolve. Evolution is how an organism is going to change over time. And then there's a little note on here that says all the characteristics of life do not apply to all organisms all of the time. For example, an organism does not have the ability to evolve. Rather, a population does. So what that means is that in your lifetime, you are not going to, say, grow a third arm, although that might be very beneficial to you in getting your tasks done. It's not going to happen. If a third arm, for say, were going to be created, it would evolve in a population. So there would be enough genes in the population to favor that, and over time we would see that arise. But again, it's not going to happen to one individual in their lifetime.